Hello, this is Connie Johnson, and I'm going to show you today how to format an MLA style paper. When you get into any of the computers here on campus, or if you try to find your Word document at home, if you don't have an icon like this here, you can go to your Start button and you can type in Microsoft Word and it will bring it up as a selection. So once you click on it, then it opens up in a blank window. When you're setting your document for an MLA style paper, you will want to go to your page layout and you'll want to go to margins, and you will want to check to make sure that you have 1-inch margins all the way around. 2010 actually does 1-inch margins as the default, so you don't have to change that. But if you're using another version, then you'll want to go down to the custom margins and you'll want to set up something like this here, so that way you have 1-inch margins on the top and bottom and the left and right. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to right click where it says Normal Style on your Home tab under the Styles. You'll want to click on Modify, and you'll want to change the default of Calibre to Times New Roman. You'll also want to change it to 12 font, because that is what you're supposed to have if you're doing an MLA style paper. Now, one of the things you want to check to make sure is you want to have this only in this document, so that way it will actually change just this document. So we're going to click OK here. Now we've got it set up to where when we type it's going to be Times New Roman and 12 font. The next thing we want to do is to set our spacing so that we have a true double space. When we go up here on the Home tab and we look at the line and paragraph spacing button, we will click on there. We will change it from 1.15, which is the default, to 2. We also need to go back to there and we need to check on the bottom where it says remove space after paragraph, because in 2010 Word actually adds just a little bit of space to that bottom of the paragraph. So we want to take that out so that we have a true double space. When we've got it already the way we want it, it will say 2 here, and it will have add space before and add space after. That indicates that we've switched it the way we want. We also want to make sure that our Show Hide button is on so we know what's going on in our document. Now, the first thing we need to do is make a header. The quickest way to get into a header is to double click at the top of our document. We want to click on the Home tab and we want to click on Align Text Right, so that we have our last name and the page number at the right side of the paper. So we're going to type our last name, hit the space bar so that we have a space in between it. Then we're going to insert the page number. Now, we click on Insert tab, go to page number, and we're going to choose current position because we've already determined that's where we want it. So right here, when I click on current position and follow my cursor over, I want to choose plain number. MLA style doesn't want you to have any special formatting to that number. So when I click it, then I have my header finished. Now, to get back into the body of your paper, just double click back into the body. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to put in our paper information. With MLA Style, we don't have a title page, so we put all that at the very first before we type the title. So we put your name, we put the instructor's name, we put the subject, and then we put the date that it's due, not today's date, but the date that it's due. So I'm going to pretend that this paper is due on August 20th of this year. Now we double space, then we're going to center our title below that. So we go back up to the Home tab and we click on the center button so that when we put in our title, it's going to be centered there for us. So now then I'm going to type then I'm going to hit enter. Now to bring our cursor back to the left margin, we just click the left align button, and for MLA Style, every paragraph is supposed to have the first line indented. So the quickest way to do that is to come up here and we're going to grab our first line indent marker here. It's the little triangle that points down, and we're going to move it over to the 1/2 inch. That's the space that they want us to have for the MLA paper. So now then we are going to type, and I'm going to just type the first sentence here of a sample paper. And if you notice, when I got done typing while, I didn't have to hit enter. All I had to do is just keep typing, and it automatically broke so that the next word went down onto the second line. Now, when I get done with my paper, the next thing I need to do is set up for the Works Cited page. So I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to insert a page break. That automatically took me to the next page. It didn't matter which page I was on, it automatically takes me to the next one. Now, Works Cited is supposed to be centered, so I actually need to move my first line indent back so that when I hit the center button, it actually is going to center that text. So when I click on Home and I click center, now Works Cited is going to be centered when I type it. Now I hit enter, then I go back to the left margin using my left justification button. Now for the Works Cited, instead of you having the first line indent, you have a hanging indent. That means the second and every succeeding line is indented. So we want to use the triangle that's pointing up, the hanging indent button, and we're going to move it over to 1/2. Now then, when we type our Works Cited, now then, if you notice, when I was typing that, it automatically scooted the second line over. If I had succeeding lines, if my citation was very long, then it would automatically bring in the rest of the lines to that 1/2 inch mark. Now, this covers the general things that you have to know in order to do an MLA paper. The way that you cite an MLA paper is you build your citation when you are actually doing the paper. For instance, let's pretend I'm ready for my citation. I'm going to go up here to References, and I'm going to insert a citation. Now, since I don't have any yet, I'm going to add a new source. This actually brings up a menu so that I can choose whether or not it's a book section, a journal article, an article in a periodical, a conference proceeding, a report, a website, document from a website, an electronic source, art, sound recording, and so on. When you choose one of the different things, it automatically switches so that you have different boxes to fill in, so that it does basically build your citation for you. There are some rules that you have to remember though. When you're putting in the author, just like if you were manually typing it, you would actually type in your last name first, as the author. For your title, you would go down here and type it in. Now, I'm going to stop with that so you can see what I'm talking about when we actually do the works cited. When I click here, it automatically put it in here, and it lets me edit that. So I can go in here, I can add the page numbers. I could suppress the author if I've already mentioned him in the paragraph. I can suppress the year, the title, any of those type of things that I don't want to show. So I'm going to click this. It suppressed it. It did not take it away, so it's still in my bibliography. So when I go down to my bibliography and I click on here, I go down and click on Insert Bibliography. The reason it's not letting me do that is because I had already typed this one in. So if I get rid of this one, now then when I go over here, it has Insert Bibliography, and it's going to insert just the information that I already put in there. It automatically underlined my title and gave me all of the information in the format I'm supposed to have it in. Okay. That concludes how to type up a paper if you do not have footnotes.